Hello, everyone. Welcome to How People First Data-Driven Organizations Succeed. I am Angela Welch, and I will be kind of walking you through this. All right. So first things first, our agenda today is I'll do a quick introduction, and then I will move to kind of what are data-driven organizations, just to quickly touch on that. Then I'm going to work into kind of what are people-first operations, which is what a huge part of this talk is about. And then the meat and potatoes will be how to use people-first operations to become more data-driven as a customer success team. So first things first, I'm Angela Welch. I am the manager of customer success operations at Clio. I've got about 6+ years of SaaS revenue operations experience that ranges from being a RevOps team of 1 and looking at the entire customer lifecycle to the past year and a bit where I've been really focused in on just customer success. I am deeply passionate about bringing customer success teams at par with sales teams. I think that this is something that we all can agree needs to happen, and I'm so happy that I'm actually get to be part of helping this change. So a little introduction to customer success operations at Clio. Clio, we are a legal tech company based out of Canada, and we're committed to building cloud-based and client-centered technology that's going to transform the legal experience for all, which is something that really resonates, a mission that really resonates with everyone at Clio and helps drive why I put so much effort into our customer success teams. So first things first, our customer success operations department lives within revenue operations. We focus on high velocity sales and low average contract value customers. We work with the tech stack, processes, policies, as well as all strategic projects that have to do with customer success. And I really bring a focus on people first operations for customer success. So in this customer success operations team, we support all customer-facing teams. So that's support, customer success managers and account management, onboarding and migrations, or post-sale teams, as well as any escalation and retention teams. So that brings me to data-driven organizations. What is data-driven? What does that mean? So I'm just going to quickly touch on this because most of us have gone through some iteration of being a data-driven company. So establishing a data-driven culture is in 3 areas. The first is organizations where the leaders value data and use that data to make decisions, right? So we want to have a data-driven culture is really where data is at the forefront and it is impacting every decision that's being made. And we're moving away from anecdotal decisions. The second piece is that the organization has achieved data democracy and literacy, meaning that there is equal access to the data across the organization. Everyone can understand a shared perspective on what the data means within the organization. And I think that's so important. And that leads into part 3, which is teams throughout the organization can freely collaborate together and run data-driven meetings. And what this really means is that by having data democracy and literacy, you're able to have, whether it's a group of support agents meeting or the leaders meeting or the executive, they could all come and bring data to their conversation and collaborate together, all using the same language. So that brings me to customer success and some of the perspectives I have on why customer success has so much trouble being data-driven. So 4 points that I have definitely seen throughout my experience working with customer success teams is oftentimes they're the last team in the organization to get dedicated operations assistance. Right. So in CS Ops, I know that I'm working right now with a team where it's 2 ops per, I think it's over 150 customer success team members. And I've seen a lot of that where it's 1 to 100, 1 to 50, et cetera. Comparatively to sales, where you're looking at probably about, 1 to 20, 1 to 10, in that area. So without that dedicated operations assistance, their customer success operations is often done off the side of the RevOps or sales ops desk. The next piece is that there's often these layered ad hoc data points, right? So in customer success, especially in early stage customer success teams, you tend to find that from what happens through sales, it gets passed to customer success and it's like, hey, track this data point. Oh, this piece of the customer journey. Track churn reasons here and do this there. And so what happens, you kind of end up getting these like layers of ad hoc data points requested from the team. And for each data point usually comes a janky process, especially early on. And so that brings me to the third point, which is attention to repeatable and scalable processes is often not a priority early on in developing your customer success function. Right. And so with that, you end up with these very long, complicated processes that, again, layer on top of each other. And then, of course, as we all know, customer data often sits within multiple systems and is really difficult to navigate. Right. Just to find all the communications that we've had with your customer, you might be going into 2-3 systems just to find that out. So people-first operations. What are people-first operations? So there's 3 main points to this. The first one is it's operations process building that puts the needs of your people first. So this means the needs of the team member, what they do in their daily workflow, that is the priority. It's a focus on give and take. So you're not asking team members to do erroneous steps without considering the impact on their workflows, right? You're not sitting there asking, hey, can you fill this in here and copy and paste over here and add that piece over there, right? You're actually thinking about how each request for a new data point impacts how they do their daily job. And the third piece, which I think might be the most important, is that team morale is a strong enough reason to update processes and tech stack. Right? A lot of times you see really low team morale in customer success around the tools, processes, et cetera, that are available. So one of the big pieces here is like when you're thinking about how to get processes and tech stack, you want to think about the morale of the team. You want to think about how they, have their daily lives. So why use people-first operations, right? You're probably wondering, how do people-first operations mesh with being data-driven? So really you want to ask yourself, have you ever tried to implement a new process that's going to provide these key data points to the company? And it's so important. But then you look at the results and your CS teams aren't adopting the process. The data points end up being moot. You've only got 60% adherence, et cetera. This is when you want to introduce people-first operations. So with people-first operations, you tend to get better adherence to data entry processes, you get better morale amongst team members, and you get a feeling of give and take between the company and your CS teams, right? And that's often a really big gap where CS teams tend to feel like the company is not catering to their needs. So a quick example of some people-first operations, right? Or an example of how people-first operations often gets missed. So churn reasons, right? Churn reasons, absolutely one of the most integral pieces of data that a company needs, that a customer success department needs, and that you can collect. But then realistically, how often do you find that those churn reasons aren't clearly getting filled out without it being forced or a validation rule having to be in place, right? You end up getting all these gaps through your information, through your data. But take a look at your process for how your team members have to input this data, right? And you want to sit there, count the clicks, count the systems that they have to go into, count the copy and paste that they have to do. And if it were you, would you want to have that long multi-click, multi-platform process for every cancellation call? I mean, think about the times of our support agents who have 2 minutes between calls and they have to go into multiple systems, copy and paste the information, do, 10 plus clicks, right? That's crazy. I wouldn't want to do it. So how to use the people first funnel to create a better data-driven culture. So first things first, you want to determine your data points or customer milestones that you're trying to track. So you got to find your North Star, right? We all know that. That's how you become data-driven. This is the piece of data that we need. But when developing and communicating processes to teams, open with a focus on the team members' daily workflows. How is this? So yes, we want to achieve this North Star, but what are we doing for your daily workflows? How is this going to impact you? Then take the focus and look on the impact to your customers, right? Our customer success team members love our customers, right? So they want to give them the best experience possible. So tie it into how it impacts them. Then you want to focus on the impact to your other teams, right? How does this help communication between teams, et cetera? And then finally, you want to bring it all together with a focus on the impact to the company data and analytics, back to the North Star, right? So you always want to bring it back to that key data point that you're trying to collect, but you open with like, hey, this is the easy way we're going to do it. We've introduced a button. So you click here and you do this thing there, right? So it's super easy and quick. Now you're probably thinking, okay, that's great. What's an example of all of this, right? So I like to use what I call the people first funnel to really look at how I structure the communication and process building, right? So one of the ways that I look at it is it's always a funnel. So I know in the bowl that I want to get at that bottom of the funnel is that piece of data, right? Now, when I go to look at building it out, I don't start with the data or the daily workflows as this tiny little cherry on top. I create that as the biggest, widest part of the funnel. I spend the majority of time working on those daily workflows, then focus on client communications, then inter-team communications, and finally drive home with data and analytics, right? When you look at it the other way and have daily workflows at the top, and then at the bottom, the widest part is the data and analytics, you're actually missing a huge part of it, right? Because daily workflows are not a cherry on the top. Daily workflows are the key way that you get that data to be accurate and to be clean. So I'm going to give you an example. So we recently did a Chili Piper meeting booking tool implementation for our customer success teams. So the way that we thought about this is there was a data gap, right? We got told by the executive and told by CS leadership, we don't have a way to report on how much time is being spent with our customers. We have no accurate reporting on no-shows or cancellations. So there was just this key gap in the data that we just couldn't get around. Then I looked at the people gap. So when I looked at the processes that we currently had to report on time spent with customers, no-shows, cancellations, et cetera, it was looking like 4+ hours a week on manual data entry just to be tracking events. 10-step processes to record a booked meeting, right? Team members were feeling like their tools and processes were not built for them. So why should they go the extra mile, right? And so there was such a low adherence to those current meeting tracking processes. So the approach, we found our North Star. We started by going, okay, what we really need is automated reporting on time spent in meetings, time spent booking and administrating meetings, right? That was what the end goal was. But when we go down to the next level, we spent 90% of the project working through customized daily workflows for our teams. We wanted to make sure that we were creating the ideal specific workflow for each team that was going to be using this tool so that it impacted their daily workflows, in a way that was really positive. Then we emphasized the impact on our customers, having a clear, consistent messaging. Then we developed inter-team workflows to allow for deeper communication, understanding cross-functionally. And what we ended up getting out of it was on the people side, we saved about 3 to 6 hours of admin work per person per week, which is an incredible amount of time. We moved everything down to a 2 to 3 click process for all the primary use cases for booking meetings or updating meetings. So a lot of buttons were used, et cetera. We then had the ability we gave our customer success teams the ability to create smooth and seamless customer experiences, right? They were able to be confident in knowing that their customers were getting the best possible experience. Then we were able to do team-specific process and tooling adjustment for their specific needs. So each team got its own needs assessment. It's got its own focus on how they were going to use this tool, right? And it would be shocking to a lot of people, like the kind of response we got to this, like there were tears. We were told we were changing people's lives. Like that's the kind of morale boost that I'm talking about when it comes to people first operations. It's really about how do you impact the daily workflows of your people? And then what was the ROI on our data, right? Because that was the whole point of this, was how to become more data-driven. Well, we unlocked automated reporting on number of meetings booked per person, per case, how, when, where they were booked, right? No-shows, cancellations, reschedules, all of this automated in reporting. We were able to unlock new data-driven capacity forecasting and planning, right? Now we're actually able to know, oh, this person is spending this much time on the phone, or these kinds of customers need this many touch points. It actually impacted new data-driven customer journey mapping, because now we were able to see, oh, actually we're finding most of our customers are coming back at this point in the journey to need an extra meeting, right? We were able to segment based on meeting habits, meaning customers who are no-showing or canceling kind of continuously. We were able to take our communication strategy and shift it. And then finally, really strong data-driven calendar management, right? That's what really brought it all together. So what you can see here is that we were able to create processes that change people's lives, and we were still able to achieve our North Star in the end. So hopefully that was a little bit of new information for you about people first processes. And just thank you for your time. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to message me in the RevGenius community at Angela Welch. Thank you.